let's get started. Okay. What does a deployment strategy look like for this? Is everything my data? Is it living on premises? Is it in the clouds? What's it look like?
That's a great question. And some of that's going to depend on where you're comfortable having your data sit. For an automation strategy, you can deploy your data fully on-prem. You can deploy it in your own cloud behind your firewalls, or you could deploy it in a fully hosted, managed environment. Really, it's going to depend on what your specific needs are and what sort of security protocols you have in place.
We could call it partly cloudy.
Yes.
And great advice for everybody to apply, not just to this, but to everything partly cloudy. So what's the, mindful of the time, what's the best way for folks to get started? That's the next question, is how do I start?
Yeah, I would say the best way to get started is to talk to, your executive teams. Look at this from the top down and go big. It's one of those things where you can get started by trying one little use case in one space, but it's not going to give you transformative results, and results are out there. So we have calculators. Forrester has built out calculators from a full third-party perspective that can predict what sort of returns you can get from deploying these programs and give you advice on that. We can also give advice through our best practice models, like the robotic operating model. But really, the returns, if the returns you're looking at aren't in the many millions, you're not thinking large enough. And you're going to have a hard time competing against competitors who do go at that scale. No, Rob,
I see a couple people asking, what is a digital worker? We kind of forgot to hit that.
Yeah, so digital worker, just like a human worker. That's where you have a robot that does the work, and you can treat it exactly the way you can treat a person today. You can assign different types of work to it. It can do anything a person can do sitting at a computer. Again, think of it as a sourcing option. You have onshore, you have offshore, now you have cybershore, an entire deployment of digital employees that are exactly what it sounds like, and workers that are digital.
And what are you seeing as the rough ratios of digital workers to biological workers, if you will, or software to wetware?
So do you mean that in terms of performance? Because I would say that...
No. Literally, okay. Like one live human for every 100 digital workers in the same space.
So typically we see one digital worker doing the work of around 7 to 10 full-time human employees. So we're seeing them deployed at roughly a third, where you have a third human employees, a third digital employees, and a third systems.
Okay. And that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. That was really interesting stuff. And thank you for the presentation. Everybody, please be sure to check out SS&C Blue Prism's resource room for some downloadable assets.